Well, let's discuss this further now with media and legal analyst Lionel, as well as Code Pink movement activist Ty Barry. Also hoping to get Patrick Henningsen, executive editor of 21stCenturyWire.com, joining in as well very shortly. Thanks for joining us, gentlemen, today on RT International. Good to have all three of you with us. I had a clip from the governor of Virginia stating before that it does appear that this intense political discourse in the US has contributed to the shooter's motives here. Is that something you agree with? If I can go to perhaps to Ty Barry first.
Well, I don't agree with that someone should take a gun and go out and shoot. What I do agree with is the fact that we are a divided country, and I don't see our president as acting like a unifier. I think if a African-American youth is shot on the streets of Chicago by a policeman, and the youth is unarmed, and there were no reasons for a gun to be shot at them, that the president should come out equally and say, we need to unite. We need to unite behind stopping these guns. For example, I've heard nothing but praying for these victims of this heinous crime. But the fact, I'm not one to pray. I'm one to say right now, we need to end the gun violence in the United States. There's no reason that this gentleman should have had a long gun with a high-capacity magazine anywhere near that baseball field. We need to take these guns off of our streets and get them out of our lives, and we need to have peace in this country, and that's the way we unify. All right,
Lionel, I can see you shaking your head there. I mean, aren't perhaps supporters of Trump that weren't, you know, have something to do with the violence as well in a way? Obviously, no way condoning or justifying what happened today, but surely this is coming from both sides of the discourse here.
No. What you just heard right now from our Code Pink friend is breathtakingly incoherent dreck. I don't know what this specious nonsense is about everything from black people being shot by police. See, this is the problem. The inability to apply critical thinking to something very, very simple. This is an insane person who decided to shoot up a bunch of people. And we, being human, love to point to some type of cause and effect. Is it because of Trump? Is it because of the way he's divided this country? Or is it because the alt-left anti-Trump mainstream sock puppet media? Or is it because of the gun lobby? No, we have 326 million people in this country. This is, luckily still, a rarity when you look at the numbers. This is an insane person. And we're going to go through his Facebook, and we're going to look at his connections to Bernie Sanders. And we're going to say, isn't it funny how we have this left-wing guy shooting? But you, sir, Mr. Code Pink, are incoherent. And what you just accomplished through that drivel, I hope to live long enough one day to understand, sir.
Well, I would say yours is political dribble as well. The fact of the matter is we need to get these guns off the streets. Guns are killing people. If this guy had a knife, how many people would he have been able to kill? Probably none. The fact of the matter is that we need to take these guns off our streets. I don't care if it's a congressman killed, a young person in a park killed. We need to get these guns off our streets. We need to start with these high-capacity magazines and these long rifles that should not be in the hands of the person that you called mentally disabled or whatever your terminology for them.
Right.
I'm sorry? Oh, the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is being used by everyone in this country that wants to arm themselves to the teeth to kill whomever they want to, whenever they want to. And that's what this individual did. He killed somebody that he wanted to kill, but he killed himself. So what does that have to do with anything? Left, right, center? Guns are killing right-wing people. They're killing alt-right people. They're killing left-wing people.
Wrong.
I never said right-wing. I said guns are the problem.
That answers that.
We need to get these guns off the street.
Guns.
What is the answer?
Guns. Okay.
Guns, absolutely.
The answer is...
Well, how else can you say it? There was a crazy man with a gun who killed a lot of people that shouldn't have had a gun of that capacity in his hands in the first place. And I don't care if it's a schoolroom in Sandy Hook or if it's on a baseball field here in Virginia. The fact of the matter is we can't pray this away. We can't make highfalutin speeches in the House of Representatives praying for the next victims.
Ty, if I can just jump in, gentlemen, Ty and Lionel as well, because this isn't exactly a gun debate, and we just to steer it back towards the course of this left-wing, right-wing, dichotomy that's at the moment going on in the US. I'd like to show you a clip of what happened a few months ago in the University of Berkeley between left and right-wing supporters. Let's just take a listen and a look at some of those images we saw. I don't know how much you can see on your screens, gents, but obviously they showed the riots, those images in Berkeley University a few months ago, which were quite shocking to many people in the States. And Ty, I'd just like to bring you in once again. You focused on guns as the problem, regardless of who's using them. There weren't any guns used in that violence, and it did seem to be a problem between left and right-wing supporters, regardless of what weapons they were using. So surely what happened today is simply an escalation, or a culmination, rather, of the violence we've been seeing throughout the months since Donald Trump's election.
Well, I don't agree with the violence that took place in Berkeley, as I don't agree with the violence that took place today in Virginia. The fact of the matter, nobody died in Berkeley because nobody had high-capacity magazines and long rifles. No one came to these protests with guns in their hands. I don't agree with the violence that's taking place on the streets of the United States in our universities. And the fact of the matter is there's a lot of angst in our country. People are feeling afraid, and when people are afraid, they act out. I think the alt-right is acting out, and I think these anti-fascist so-called protesters are also acting out. None of them are going to get us to a place where we need to go. We need calmness, we need coolness, and we need dialogue.
All right.
But you'll never get dialogue when there's ability to have guns on our streets.
All right. I'd like to bring in Patrick here, because, as I said, we've gone back to guns again. But, Patrick, I mean, do you think it is possible to unite what's clearly a very divided electorate, a very divided populace, with both sides engaging on violence on the streets because of their political views? Or do you think this problem will just escalate until something more is done?
First of all, to reduce this event and the commentary on it down to a gun issue, I think is ludicrous and borders on idiotic. Okay, the fact of the matter is, just because it's a gun event, whether it was a knife or a gun, it's violence. Okay, but what the left will do is reduce it down to a gun, Second Amendment issue, or whatever. If this was a Muslim who carried this out, whether it was with a knife or a paper clip or a gun, the right would be calling for, Trump supporters would be calling for a ban on Muslims. That's a fact as well. So, but this is a politically motivated act of violence, and what we saw during the campaign, especially when you could go back to the Chicago rally, the Trump rally with Bernie Sanders supporters.
I disagree totally.
No, listen, let me, hold on.
This was not politically motivated by any means.
Okay, this is completely
guns,
politically motivated.
Face the facts. This is guns.
No. Listen, if it's a knife or a gun, it is politically motivated. That is an act of terrorism by the definition of terrorism, wanting to get your way politically by using violence. Doesn't matter if it's with a stick or a gun.
You just want to put a label on it as terrorism or as political. The fact of the matter is, it was a mentally ill person who had a gun. You want.
Let me finish. You had your chance to talk. Now let me finish. It is politically motivated 100%, okay? And the other thing is the debate, the discourse in America has been allowed to reach such ludicrous proportions. The people who have lost the election in 2016 are acting like petulant children. The whole Democratic establishment is wasting hundreds of millions of dollars.
You're going to blame it on the Democrats and on the left.
That
somebody is shot on a baseball field. But you're afraid to blame it on a gun.
Listen, the reason this person acted out in a political manner is because you've been indulging in conspiracy theories like Russia hacked the election or Russia's meddling in American democracy.
I don't do that. No, I disagree with that. I don't.
Okay?
Hillary Clinton lost her election. But we don't need to talk about Hillary Clinton today. We need to talk about people that were shot.
Gents, it's Daniel here in the studio. If I can just jump in very quickly, bring in an interesting point here, because we're speculating right now on whether the person had mental issues or whether it was political. It's still an active crime scene. This happened just 4 hours ago, so we need to wait for all the facts, obviously, to come through here. But I'd like to just see, I mean, if this person did have mental problems...
I'm sorry, but somebody who shows up at a baseball field with a gun like that is mentally disturbed.
Okay, well,
you're not politically motivated.
We're going to wait for the full facts to come through, Ty.
Deep problem.
We're going to wait for the full facts to come through.
You can be both politically motivated and mentally disturbed, by the way.
Patrick and Ty, this is what the person who did this, who conducted this attack, would have been seeing on television over the last few months. Let's take a look at what we've seen in the media regarding the Trump election over the last few months.
What if an incoming president and his immediate successors were wiped out on day one?
Who would be in charge if an attack hit the incoming president? It won't be a Trump cabinet secretary. It will be an Obama appointee.
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House, but I know that this won't change anything.
Ty, if I can just go to you on this, I mean, regardless of whether the person had mental issues, political motivations, perhaps a combination of both, we just don't know. Surely, if he's been in this atmosphere of stirring, incitement to violence, which many argue that mainstream media has been doing, some celebrities have been doing, I mean, surely that's not going to make the situation better in any case, is it?
No, whenever you talk about bombing or shooting, these are wrong things to do. But the fact of the matter is that we in this country have been praying for too long to stop gun violence. The only way you're going to stop gun violence is to stop gun violence. Take it off the table. There is no praying for this. There's only action.
The problem.
We need to have action. This is not a political issue. This is a problem with violence on the streets of the United States of America.
Lionel, you've obviously got something to say on this.
Mr. Code Pink, I don't know if you're the spokesman for this organization, if this is your first time ever on television, if you've ever had to present yourself or try to cobble together a coherent idea. But to call you a one-trick pony would be a compliment. Sir, this is you've missed the point completely.
I love your insults. All you are is a basket full of insults. You contribute. You contribute to the same thing you're denying.
Nothing but we have done everything in our power to basically call for the assassination of this president. Here in New York, Shakespeare in the Park, which of course was an artistic venture. You've got these two-bit comedians. You have people who are escalating left and right. And what you do is you have a media who, instead of stopping it or saying, wait a minute, because let me tell you something, if this was Barack Obama, I know this
the media didn't shoot anybody today,
you
Lionel.
would have heard, and you
artists didn't shoot anybody today.
The worst thing ever.
Comedians didn't shoot anyone today.
There is nothing that is off the table when it comes to Donald Trump. Mr. Code Pink, please.
Listen, at least with Barack Obama. At least with Barack Obama, the vile insults and everything was confined mostly to the internet. The problem is the anti-Trump movement is mainstream. This is the problem, and they've normalized violence. You saw what happened in the streets of Portland.
You're saying CNN is calling for the assassination of the president? This is where the rhetoric comes from. People like you.
Listen, Kathy Griffith from CNN held the head of Donald Trump out like an ISIS video. So yes, I think CNN is kind of inferring that.
Okay, Patrick, I'd like to jump in here. It's Daniel in the studio, because you've raised a very interesting point. Another controversy which we've seen over the past weeks and days, the Kathy Griffith incident, and lately the Julius Caesar play, which also had depictions of violence with a Donald Trump look-alike effectively there, which caused controversy. Some people are arguing that's just art. So
remember,
Patrick,
they did that play with Obama in the same position.
The director of that play said he's in no way inciting violence, saying it's just art, it's freedom of expression. Where is the line here between freedom of expression and incitement to violence?
Listen, if you got the memo, the code word in the Democratic left circles is relentless resistance. This was the code that was being used in the immediate aftermath of Hillary Clinton's tremendous defeat back in November. So everything is game in relentless resistance, and that includes
and then you can say one-term president on your team.
Of the president.
That doesn't help anything.
So
the violence is violence.
Ty, so on the subject of violence, I'd like to just jump in back.
You're just using examples that are just ridiculous.
Ty, Daniel in the studio, I'd just like to put something to you. Back in January, I'll get back to you in just one moment, Patrick, but in January, Ty, our reporter actually spoke to people on the streets, both Trump and Clinton supporting cities, areas in America. Here's a reminder of some of the opinions we got on the streets. Let's just take a quick listen. I'll get back to you just in a few seconds.
Do you think this area in particular is such a stronghold of Clinton supporters?
A lot of educated people that are sensible and know how the world runs.
Hyper-educated people with huge amounts of money.
I would say we're more open-minded. We're kind of more moderate.
Well-educated people.
The rest of America, they aren't exactly happy about the way the media and Clinton supporters have characterized them.
Well, they were kind of arrogant, weren't they?
Yeah.
I'm not to judge what other people's education and stuff is, you know?
How many of them are not working at McDonald's or somewhere, even though they have a 5-year, 6-year degree?
It's not surprising. The country's divided in half.
Now, Ty, you've heard the comments there from the Clinton and the Trump supporters. Whatever you think of Trump and his policies, certainly very polarizing. Close to half of the electorate, those who turned out, did vote for him. So surely that last lady we saw speaking, there has been an element of maybe patronization, of arrogance, many would say, among the Clinton supporters, which have perhaps fed into that, discourse of dismissal, of closed-mindedness, of violence, ultimately. Is that something you'd agree with?
No, I don't agree with it at all. I think the fact of the matter is we've had these kinds of this kind of rhetoric around since before Bush. It's gone on since Clinton, or even earlier. But we're not the people that were shot today. Were shot with weapons, with guns, in the hands of people that are mentally disturbed.
Please,
no one goes to a baseball
Stop
diamond with a long gun and a high-capacity magazine, unloads 50 shots. It just is not what a normal country goes through.
Bernie Sanders
this doesn't happen in Great
bullet.
Britain, Germany, France. I'm sorry, but there was a lot of rhetoric. I was listening to the elections in France. There was a lot of rhetoric, a lot of name-calling, a lot of the same with the elections in the recent elections in Great Britain. But the fact of the matter is people don't take to the streets with guns.
The Democrat sour grapes gravy train has made an industry out of loot. Listen, it's true. People should be ashamed of themselves.
I love you, man.
They have made a mockery.
Tell the American public what gravy train they're on, be it Republican or Democrat.
I'll tell you what a gravy
What's the
train
gravy
is.
train? The gravy train is the billionaires that don't pay taxes.
Russia hacked the elections. Listen, the gravy train is you've wasted $200 million. Listen, let me finish. Your party has wasted $200 million.
I don't agree with it. I just told you.
Chasing a conspiracy theory that Russia hacked the U.S. elections, which is a hoax. It never happened, okay? So
how many times do I have to tell you that I don't agree with that theory?
And demonized
I don't agree with that theory.
Donald Trump for no reason.
You're the one who's bringing the
Daniel
rhetoric.
here in the studio again. If I can just jump in because we're running out of time. I just want to get some points in. Ty, you talk about gun control as if it's going to solve the problem of this, political violence in America. This is an incident so far that has been isolated. So far it's an isolated use of weapons that has been arguably politically motivated. Although we are still waiting for the facts, of course, I have to agree with you. But
I am so sorry, my friend, but this...
Would you be happy to say that,
this is a country of 350 million people with
left-wing
400 million
activists, anti-fascists, etc., they have been responsible for fanning the flames of political violence in America? Are you happy to admit that? Because are you happy to condemn that violence?
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. I don't believe in any violence. I'm a pacifist.
Do you
If you want to know the truth,
may I
am
ask
a pacifist.
a question? I've been very good here.
Whoa. Listen, you're not a
Mr.
pacifist because Code Pink
question.
has backed regime change in Syria. Code Pink has backed the removal of Assad in Syria and arming the moderate rebels, okay? So you are not a pacifist. You are not a pacifist.
I love how you put words in my mouth.
Your
I've never said that or ever
your
done
organization, your organization backs the White Helmets, which is a NATO member state-funded pseudo-NGO
You're wrong,
that works with
Okay, gents, before we veer off into foreign policy, gents, which is a whole different can of worms here, I'd like to give each of you just 30 seconds. Just 30 seconds each, gents, to wrap up here. Lionel, if I go to you first, please.
Mr. Code Pink, do you think that the rhetoric that we've heard lately, specifically calling for violence to President Trump, in any way could have contributed to this terrible event today? Yes or no?
Maybe a small portion of it, possibly. But I think that there's many people who have very much deep-seated anger in their heart, who are very angry, but they don't grab a gun. It's the mentally disturbed, those people that are prone to extreme violence,
That's where I started.
that have access to guns.
That's what I said, and
right.
you disputed that from the beginning.
Okay, gents, thanks so much. If I can just go to Patrick now, just to Patrick Henningsen, just for his quick wrap-up, sir.
Fun?
Yeah, a lot of mentally disturbed people. Absolutely, I agree with you 100%. A lot of mentally disturbed people.
Okay, gents, that's all we've got time for today. Thanks so much for being with us. That was media legal analyst Lionel, Code Pink activist Ty Barry, and Patrick Henningsen, executive director, editor of 21stCenturyNewsWire.com. Thanks so much, all three, for joining us today and giving us your insights today on RT International.
Numbers. This is an insane person. And we're going to go through his Facebook, and we're going to look at his connections to Bernie Sanders.
I'm sorry,
and we're going to say, isn't it funny how we have this left-wing guy shooting? But you, sir, Mr. Code Pink, are incoherent. And what you just accomplished through that drivel, I hope to live long enough one day to understand, sir.
Well, I would say yours is political dribble as well. The fact of the matter is, we need to get these guns off the streets. Guns are killing people. If this guy had a knife, how many people would he have been able to kill? Probably none. The fact of the matter is that we need to take these guns off our streets. I don't care if it's a congressman killed, a young person in a park killed. We need to get these guns off our streets. We need to start with these high-capacity magazines and these long rifles that should not be in the hands of the person that you called mentally disabled or whatever your terminology for them.
Right.
I'm sorry? Oh, the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is being used by everyone in this country that wants to arm themselves to the teeth to kill whomever they want to, whenever they want to. And that's what this individual did. He killed somebody that he wanted to kill, but he killed himself. So what does that have to do with anything? Left, right, center? Guns are killing right-wing people. They're killing alt-right people. They're killing left-wing people.
Wrong.
I never said right-wing. I said guns are the problem.
That answers that.
We need to get these guns off the street.
Guns.
What is the answer?
Guns. Okay.
Guns, absolutely.
The answer is...
How else can you say it? There was a crazy man with a gun who killed a lot of people that shouldn't have had a gun of that capacity in his hands in the first place. And I don't care if it's a schoolroom in Sandy Hook or if it's on a baseball field here in Virginia. The fact of the matter is we can't pray this away. We can't make highfalutin speeches in the House of Representatives praying for the next victims.
Ty, if I can just jump in, gentlemen, Ty and Lionel as well, because this isn't exactly a gun debate, and just to steer it back towards the course of this left-wing, right-wing, dichotomy that's at the moment going on in the US. I'd like to show you a clip of what happened a few months ago in the University of Berkeley between left and right-wing supporters. Let's just take a listen and a look at some of those images we saw. don't know how much you can see on your screens, gents, but obviously they showed the riots, those images in Berkeley University a few months ago, which were quite shocking to many people in the States. And Ty, I'd just like to bring you in once again. You focused on guns as the problem, regardless of who's using them. There weren't any guns used in that violence, and it did seem to be a problem between left and right-wing supporters, regardless of what weapons they were using. So surely what happened today is simply an escalation, or a culmination, rather, of the violence we've been seeing throughout the months since Donald Trump's election.
Well, I don't agree with the violence that took place in Berkeley, as I don't agree with the violence that took place today in Virginia. The fact of the matter, nobody died in Berkeley because nobody had high-capacity magazines and long rifles. No one came to these protests with guns in their hands. I don't agree with the violence that's taking place on the streets of the United States in our universities. And the fact of the matter is there's a lot of angst in our country. People are feeling afraid, and when people are afraid, they act out. I think the alt-right is acting out, and I think these anti-fascist so-called protesters are also acting out. None of them are going to get us to a place where we need to go. We need calmness, we need coolness, and we need dialogue.
All right.
But you'll never get dialogue when there's ability to have guns on our streets.
All right. I'd like to bring in Patrick here, because, as I said, we've gone back to guns again. But, Patrick, I mean, do you think it is possible to unite what's clearly a very divided electorate, a very divided populace, with both sides engaging on violence on the streets because of their political views? Or do you think this problem will just escalate until something more is done?
First of all, to reduce this event and the commentary on it down to a gun issue, I think is ludicrous and borders on idiotic. Okay, the fact of the matter is, just because it's a gun event, whether it was a knife or a gun, it's violence. Okay, but what the left will do is reduce it down to a gun, Second Amendment issue, or whatever. If this was a Muslim who carried this out, whether it was with a knife or a paper clip or a gun, the right would be calling for, Trump supporters would be calling for a ban on Muslims. That's a fact as well. So, but this is a politically motivated act of violence, and what we saw during the campaign, especially when you could go back to the Chicago rally, the Trump rally, where Bernie Sanders supporters...
I disagree totally.
No, listen, let me... Hold on,
this was not politically motivated by any means.
Okay, this is completely
guns,
politically motivated.
Face the facts. This is guns.
No, listen, if it's a knife or a gun, it is politically motivated. That is an act of terrorism by the definition of terrorism, wanting to get your way politically by using violence. Doesn't matter if it's with a stick or a gun.
You just want to put a label on it as terrorism or as political. The fact of the matter is, it was a mentally ill person who had a gun.
You want. Let me finish. You had your chance to talk. Now let me finish. It is politically motivated 100%, okay? And the other thing is, the debate, the discourse in America has been allowed to reach such ludicrous proportions. The people who have lost the election in 2016 are acting like petulant children. The whole Democratic establishment is wasting hundreds of millions of dollars.
You're going to blame it on the Democrats and on the left.
That
somebody is shot on a baseball field. But you're afraid to blame it on a gun.
Listen, the reason this person acted out in a political manner is because you've been indulging in conspiracy theories like Russia hacked the election or Russia's meddling in American democracy.
I don't do that. No, I disagree with that. I don't. Hillary Clinton lost her election. But we don't need to talk about Hillary Clinton today. We need to talk about people that were shot.
Gents, it's Daniel here in the studio. If I can just jump in very quickly, bring in an interesting point here, because we're speculating right now on whether the person had mental issues or whether it was political. It's still an active crime scene. This happened just 4 hours ago, so we need to wait for all the facts, obviously, to come through here. But I'd like to just see, I mean, if this person did have mental problems...
I'm sorry, but somebody who shows up at a baseball field with a gun like that is mentally disturbed.
Okay, well,
you're not politically motivated.
We're going to wait for the full facts to come through, Ty.
Deep problem.
We're going to wait for the full facts to come through.
You can be both politically motivated and mentally disturbed, by the way.
Patrick and Ty, this is what the person who did this, who conducted this attack, would have been seeing on television over the last few months. Let's take a look at what we've seen in the media regarding the Trump election over the last few months.
What if an incoming president and his immediate successors were wiped out on day one?
Who would be in charge if an attack hit the incoming president? It won't be a Trump cabinet secretary. It will be an Obama appointee.
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House, but I know that this won't change anything.
Ty, if I could just go to you on this. I mean, regardless of whether the person had mental issues, political motivations, perhaps a combination of both, we just don't know. Surely, if he's been in this atmosphere of stirring, incitement to violence, which many argue that mainstream media has. Well, let's discuss this further now with media and legal analyst Lionel, as well as Code Pink movement activist Ty Barry. Also hoping to get Patrick Henningsen, executive editor of 21stCenturyWire.com, joining in as well very shortly. Thanks for joining us, gentlemen, today on RT International. Good to have all three of you with us. I had a clip from the governor of Virginia stating before that it does appear that this intense political discourse in the US has contributed to the shooter's motives here. Is that something you agree with? If I can go to perhaps to Ty Barry first.
Well, I don't agree with that someone should take a gun and go out and shoot. What I do agree with is the fact that we are a divided country, and I don't see our president as acting like a unifier. I think if a African-American youth is shot on the streets of Chicago by a policeman, and the youth is unarmed, and there were no reasons for a gun to be shot at them, that the president should come out equally and say, we need to unite. We need to unite behind stopping these guns. For example, I've heard nothing but praying for these victims of this heinous crime. But the fact, I'm not one to pray. I'm one to say right now, we need to end the gun violence in the United States. There's no reason that this gentleman should have had a long gun with a high-capacity magazine anywhere near that baseball field. We need to take these guns off of our streets and get them out of our lives, and we need to have peace in this country, and that's the way we unify. All right, Lionel, I can see you shaking your head there. I mean, aren't perhaps supporters of Trump that weren't, you know, have something to do with the violence as well in a way? Obviously, no way condoning or justifying what happened today, but surely this is coming from both sides of the discourse here.
No. What you just heard right now from our Code Pink friend is breathtakingly incoherent dreck. I don't know what this specious nonsense is about everything from black people being shot by police. See, this is the problem. The inability to apply critical thinking to something very, very simple. This is an insane person who decided to shoot up a bunch of people. And we, being human, love to point to some type of cause and effect. Is it because of Trump? Is it because of the way he's divided this country? Or is it because the alt-left anti-Trump mainstream sock puppet media? Or is it because of the gun lobby? No, we have 326 million people in this country. This is, luckily still, a rarity when you look at the...
...has been doing, some celebrities have been doing. I mean, surely that's not going to make the situation better in any case, is it?
No, whenever you talk about bombing or shooting, these are wrong things to do. But the fact of the matter is that we in this country have been praying for too long to stop gun violence. The only way you're going to stop gun violence is to stop gun violence. Take it off the table. There is no praying for this. There's only action. The problem. We need to have action. This is not a political issue. This is a problem with violence on the streets of the United States of America.
Lionel, you've obviously got something to say on this.
Mr. Code Pink, I don't know if you're the spokesman for this organization, if this is your first time ever on television, if you've ever had to present yourself or try to cobble together a coherent idea. But to call you a one-trick pony would be a compliment. Sir, this is you've missed the point completely. Right
I love your insults. All you are is a basket full of insults. You contribute. You contribute to the same thing you're denying.
Nothing but we have done everything in our power to basically call for the assassination of this president. Here in New York, Shakespeare in the Park, which of course was an artistic venture. You've got these two-bit comedians. You have people who are escalating left and right. And what you do is you have a media who, instead of stopping it or say, wait a minute, because let me tell you something. If this was Barack Obama, I know this.
The media didn't shoot anybody today,
you
Lionel.
would have heard, and you
Artists didn't shoot anybody today.
The worst thing ever.
Comedians didn't shoot anyone today.
There is nothing that is off the table when it comes to Donald Trump. Mr. Code Pink, please.
Listen, at least with Barack Obama. At least with Barack Obama, the vile insults and everything was confined mostly to the internet. The problem is the anti-Trump movement is mainstream. This is the problem, and they've normalized violence. You saw the what happened in the streets of Portland.
You're saying CNN is calling for the assassination of the president? This is where the rhetoric comes from. People like you.
Listen, Kathy Griffith from CNN held the head of Donald Trump out like an ISIS video. So yes, I think CNN is kind of inferring that.
Okay, Patrick, I'd like to jump in here. It's Daniel in the studio, because you've raised a very interesting point. Another controversy which we've seen over the past weeks and days, the Kathy Griffith incident, and lately the Julius Caesar play, which also had depictions of violence with a Donald Trump look-alike effectively there, which caused controversy. Some people are arguing that's just art. So
remember, Patrick, they did that play with Obama in the same